Hi there, this is John Alexa from Pro Tutorials, and today I'm going to show to you how you can do an impressive, professional looking and amazing Kindle cover for your books. So in this video I'm going to show to you the way that I do my own covers. I'm going to show to you the several tools that I use, where I actually go to get my images, to get my fonts for my books, and all of that I will share with you along this video. Now this video I'm going to go freestyle. Basically what I mean about this is I'm going to do my best to not try to edit any part of this video. So of course I may do a few mistakes along this video, and well, I will try to do my best. So I really want to show to you what I do without editing any part of this video. Anyway, why do you want to do your own covers when you can actually go to Fiverr and just pay someone $5, $10 to do a cover for your book? I mean, it's just $10 or $5. It's not really a huge deal. But the thing is, if you have good skills with, in this case, I'm going to use Photoshop for this. This is the tool that I use and the tool that I recommend for you to use. If you want to go get Photoshop, if you still don't have it, then you can go to the website and you can get a free trial which you can use for 30 days. Now if you don't want to use Photoshop, you can use one of the free alternatives that you have out there. One of them is called Pixabay, but I'm not going to use Pixabay because I don't like to use Pixabay, honestly, because I'm used to Photoshop. I've been using Photoshop for more than a decade now. And when I try to do videos with Pixabay, I mean, I really struggle to use that software. But if you want a free alternative, I recommend for you to use Pixabay because it's also pretty good. Anyway, you can go to this website to get Photoshop. And I was explaining why do you want to do your own covers? Well, if you have a good understanding about how you can use Photoshop and so on, and once again, I recommend for you to have some basic understanding about Photoshop, so you can go out there, watch a few videos explaining how you can use Photoshop, and then just go back to this video and watch the rest of my videos so you can understand how you can make a cover. But you really need to have some basic understanding about Photoshop in order for you to make a cover. And in this video, I'm not going to explain all of the details about Photoshop, because that would be very time consuming, and this video would take probably 3 hours for me to just explain how you could do a cover. Nobody wants to watch a video 3 hours, it's quite boring, so I'm not going to explain all of the basics. So try to, if you don't have any basic understanding about Photoshop, I recommend for you to watch some other videos out there. You have plenty of good videos explaining that inside of YouTube. Anyway, the reason why you want to make your own covers is because if you have decent skills in using Photoshop, you can do a far better cover than the one that you would get from someone in Fiverr. Because I mean, if you pay $5 or $10 for someone to do your cover, I mean, you can't expect a huge amazing cover. I mean, those people normally are just trying to do covers quickly as possible, so you can expect for them to go in detail. And one of the most important things when it comes to selling your books is really the cover for your book. So this is the reason, even though I could easily pay $5, $10 to someone to create my own cover, but I still prefer to do my own covers because I can do far more impressive covers when I do my own ones. And that is the reason why I still do them. And of course there's quite a few disadvantages. One of them is it is pretty time consuming. It may take you a few hours until you get a good cover. Anyway, let's start. So you need Photoshop, as I already explained. When it comes to images, this is something that is extremely important. I will explain the 3 things that makes a good cover. The first one is contrasting colors, okay? So you need to have contrasting colors inside of your own cover. This means that your font, the font that you have inside of your cover, should contrast the background inside of your book. This is extremely important so people can easily read the title and also the subtitle of your book. The other thing that your cover should also contrast is the Amazon platform. So you should avoid having similar colors that you can find inside of Amazon. This means white. I would avoid a white cover because it doesn't contrast inside of Amazon. And always remember that the covers that people will see, the thumbnail is quite small. So you really want to capture that person's attention. And by having contrasting colors, it's really something that helps you a lot in making your cover more enticing. So you should avoid white, this kind of blue. I'm not saying that you can't have blue, but this dark blue you should also avoid, and also this yellow, nearly orange color that they have over here, you should also avoid. So that is the first thing. The second thing that you need to have so you can have a good cover is a clean font. Okay, this is extremely important. You can see this is the website where you can go to get free fonts. You just go to Google, type in free fonts, and you can find plenty of websites where you can download fonts that you can use for your books. So what I mean about clean fonts, I mean, is that you should avoid any kind of fonts like this one over here, like this one. I mean, these fonts are really hard for someone to read, and you should avoid that. So let me see over here. Let's try modern and see what we get over here. Probably will find more clean fonts, such as this one looks a bit better, even though I prefer to use more fat fonts, if you can call them that, or bold fonts, because it's easier for people to read. But you can see that this one looks far clean, or more clean than compared to the ones that you saw previously. So always have easy fonts that people can just look at it and easily read the title and the subtitle of your cover. The third thing that is extremely important is for you to have high quality images, because one of the first things that people actually look at when they look at your book is the image. Images attract people to your book, and a good image really does a lot when it comes to selling your book. You shouldn't have images where you basically just grab an image online, you just stretch it, and then it looks blur. If you publish a book with a cover like that, even though the content of your book might be really good, but if you have a cover with a blurred image, people simply won't purchase your book, or some people will just avoid purchasing your book because of the image. So always make sure that you have the highest quality possible when it comes to images. So this is for font. You can go to this website and find fonts that you can use for your book. When it comes to images, now I would say that making a good cover is not that hard. I mean, you can easily find the fonts that you need for your covers, going to this website, and basically all the rest, you can easily do that. Now, the part where normally you waste a lot of time is finding high quality images. This is extremely hard because you can't use, or you shouldn't use, images that have copyrights. I don't recommend for you to use images with copyrights, because just imagine that you have a book that is selling really well inside of Photoshop, and let's say someone from your competition sees that you have a copyrighted image on your cover. They can tell Amazon, and Amazon just removes your book from their platform, and you just lose the money from your book, because I mean your book gets removed. So always avoid having copyright images. Now there are two sources that I normally use when it comes to free images. The first one is called Unsplashed, or Unsplash. Actually, it's Unsplashed. And the other one is called Pixabay. Over here in this website, you can see just by the examples provided that you can find plenty of high quality images that you can use, such as this one. It's pretty good. If you had a book related to jogging, running, or whatever, you can see that this is an extremely good quality image that you could use for your book. Now, you can also use Unsplashed. Now, sometimes what happens is you're writing a book for a particular topic, and you simply can find good free images inside of Unsplash and also Pixabay. And that is kind of a problem, because what happens is most of the websites where you can find paid images, such as Shutterstock, actually these are paid images that you can get, they're pretty damn expensive. Seriously, I mean, you can see that if you want to get 5 images, you need to get a pack that costs at least $50. I actually went to a website where just one image cost about $80. I mean, that is really a lot. It's quite a lot of money, and it's kind of hard when you want to get a good image and you just can't find in these free sources. So what you can do, and by the way, I'm going to leave all of the links of the several websites that I'm talking about right below in the description from this video, so don't worry, you can go over there and find these websites. Now, the best source for paid images, if you need to actually find a paid image, and something that I actually forgot to mention is, if you are going to use a free image, make sure, because these images are easily found by anyone, make sure that no other book out there has an image similar to yours, because I mean, it would be pretty ridiculous after probably you writing your book or paying someone to write your book, and you publish a cover with exactly the same image as another book. I mean, you really need to be careful about that. So make sure once you choose an image from these free sources that there aren't any other books with a similar image as yours. Now, when it comes to free paid images, if you want to get a high quality paid image that is extremely cheap, I consider for you to go to canva.com. You go to this website, and let's say that you want to find an image for your cooking book. You can see that they actually have a couple of free images that you can also use, but also if you go below, you can see that you can find images just for $1. Okay, you can find images just for $1, and you can choose this option, and once you pay $1, you can freely download this image to your computer during, I think it's 24 hours that you can do that. So you can see that you can find plenty of good high quality images that you can use for your book just for $1. So this is the website I recommend for you to use in case you just can't find a good image on the free sources, because I mean, sometimes you just can't find a good image on the free sources, so you really need to pay for an image. And if you don't want to waste a lot of money, this is the website I recommend for you to go to. So basically all you need to do is you grab one of these images over here, you paste it over here, and you just stretch it a bit. You can also use another canvas size, so you can put the image a bit better, and then you just download it to your computer. You pay $1. You can, I think you need to actually use a credit card for this. They don't use PayPal, which is kind of bad. So this is the source I recommend when you want to use or get paid images. Okay, now for covers, let's see. This is what I do when it comes to covers and when I want to make an amazing cover for my book. What I do is I'll go over here to Kindle store, and let's say that I want to make a cooking book. Okay, cooking book, or cookbook. Actually, I'm writing this wrong. It's cookbook. Okay, so I simply check the listing over here and try to find a cover, not from, I normally don't try to find a cover from a famous author, because I'm not saying that all famous authors have back covers. It's not exactly the case, but often famous authors can get away with a lot of things, including a back cover. And If you look at a famous author and you see a book that is selling really well and you copy exactly that cover, it might not be the best idea, because once again, famous authors can get away with a lot of different things, and you just can't get away with that if you're not a famous author. So you can see that over here there's pretty decent covers, such as this one. I mean, fuck, that's delicious. This is probably from a famous author, and the cover is nothing special. Actually, this cover is kind of similar to the cover that belongs to The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck from Mark Manson. And I'm pretty certain that this author, he's probably not a famous author. I'm really not sure. But you can see that this cover is not exactly ideal. Even though, what I can say about this cover is the colors are contrasting from the background. And you can easily see this cover just popping out. But this cover is not exactly that good. Okay, so this is sometimes something that you just can't get away. And actually, there's not exactly a cover that I want to... Let's try Cookbook Italian and see what we can find over here. Okay, so this cover is actually pretty good. You can see this cover is actually pretty good. And what I do is I try to see other covers until I find a cover that seems pretty good, and I try to imitate that cover. Normally I try to find covers in different keywords, so once I publish my book for another title, I won't have other books similar to mine in terms of covers, of course. Now, one of the things is you always want to have a great cover, okay? So you can compete with other covers that are under the same keyword. This one is actually pretty good. I'm trying to find a cover which I can basically use as a template for mine. This one is also pretty good, as you may see. This is a pretty good cover, and this is actually a pretty simple cover for you to do. But you can see that they have good images, especially when it comes to cookbooks. The images are extremely important. Let's try French. Now, as I said, I'm doing just this really freestyle, not editing anything. I like this cover. This is actually a pretty good cover. This one is certainly from a famous author. So I'm trying to see a cover that I want to try to imitate. Let's try to imitate this one over here. Okay, let's try to imitate this one over here. You can see that it has a couple of images right on the bottom, and let's try to make something like this one. This is actually a pretty good cover for a cookbook, so let's try to do something similar to this one. But instead of an Italian cookbook, let's make it Mexican, or let's say Chinese food or Chinese cookbook. Let's call it Chinese or Japanese cookbook. So let's go over here and let's go to Photoshop. Now there are two different sizes that I've been testing around when it comes to my covers. I have a more standard size. This is this one over here. This is more a standard size for a cover. And you can see the size over here, which is 1650 pixels for width, and height is 2400 pixels. So this is for a more normal size cover, okay? So for a more normal size cover, actually you can see that this is not exactly the normal size for a cover. This is has a bit more width, so you can see that. So actually these covers have a bit more width, and you can see that this one is a more square size. I actually prefer to nowadays use a cover with more square size, because this makes my cover just more enticing, more attractive. So this is for a normal size cover. And if you want a more squared size, this is something that you need to experiment. You can use this size over here, which I've been testing around recently. This is with 3,550 pixels, and height is 5,400 pixels. Basically, this is the size that I've been using nowadays for my covers. It will look a bit similar to this one. Actually, this one is a bit more squared compared to the cover that I'm talking about. And yeah, this is the one that I'm going to use now. So I'm just going to delete this one because I'm not going to use it. Okay, so the first thing I do is I actually unlock the background over here so I can start using it. I go over here to view and to new guide, and has vertical. I just put 50% so I can have a line exactly in the center, which allows me to more easily guide me when I start positioning things inside of my cover. Then I also go once again to view, and I just put one horizontal line just like this, and basically I have everything to start making my own cover. Now for my cover, I will need about 3 images. As you can see, 3 images over here. And this background over here seems like not certain exactly what it is, but I'm going to try something a bit different for this. So I'm going to Pixabay, and let's say I write over here on the search box cook and see what exactly I get. Let's say Japanese, because this will be a Japanese food cookbook. And you can see you can find pretty good images over here that you can use. It's not exactly always the case, but you have over here pretty good images that you can use for your cover. And some titles you just can't find the images that you need. It's really terrible, and you just need to pay for one. So I'm just going to use this one because I like it. This is a pretty good image. I'm going to do free download, and I'm going to choose the biggest size over here. For this, you actually need to have you need to register to Pixabay, so you can use the biggest size. You can use you can do that with Facebook if you want. Let's get another image, and let's try this one. Actually, let's see this one. This is with this food. Let's try another one, and let's see what we get over here. I actually like this one but it's way too wide. So you can see that this one it looks really delicious, but it's way too wide. And also this one is a bit too wide. But I really like this image. It looks really good and delicious. But I'm not certain how it will look once I pass it to Photoshop. And let's try this one. This is a good image also. And I'm going to do a free download over here. Once again, the biggest size that you can find. So you can have the maximum quality possible, because you won't need to stretch your image a lot. And basically sometimes you just need to reduce the sizing of your image, but it doesn't lose so much quality. So let's see another image. Let's try this one. I already did this one. I actually like this one also. Let's try this one. Okay, download. I'm just going to Photoshop once more. I'm going to go over here to open, and I'm going to get all of these images that I've actually used. Let me see them. Summon, undo. Just trying. It's this one. It's just 3 ones, and I'm just going to open them up. Okay. Okay, so I'm not I'm not exactly certain about the sizing over here. Anyway, I'm thinking about a background over here. Let's say black wood background. Something like this. Black wood background. And I think this will look really good for, it's where I'm actually going to put my font later on, the title. Let's say, trying to search for one. Something that is not too confusing. Let me check this one over here. Normally when it comes to these images, it's not a huge problem if it has copyrights. I mean, it's a background. It's not something that people actually realize otherwise might be subject to copyrights. But sometimes you also want to be careful with this. But it's not an image that is so distinguishable like an image where you have people or food or something like that. So I actually like this one. Let's try visit site and see if we can get this one over here and save image. I'm actually going to save it over here to cookbook and backwood. Okay, so I'm going to get also that image over here on my computer, blackwood. And what I'm thinking is, instead of having that stone that you saw on the top section before, let me go over here to Amazon. This seems like some kind of stone in the background. I'm going to have this black background where I'm going to insert my title. So where is this image? It's over here. And normally what I do, so I don't lose quality, but I'm not going to do now, is I try to increase the image size over here until it will fit. And once I increase the image size over here, I just basically pass it on to my background. And the reason I do that is to not lose quality. So I try to enlarge using over here image size, or also reduce if I need to reduce the sizing. But in this case, I'm not going to do that because that would be very time consuming. But you can see that it's way too small. So actually, let me see the image width is 300, 500 pixels. So I'm going over here and I'm actually going to do that because it's way too small. And if I just increase it inside of my layer, it will lose a lot of quality. So I'm going over here to width, and let's choose preserve details in enlargement. And you can see now it's just huge, and I just can pass it just right over here to the top section. So if I'm going to repeat the process, because I know that sometimes I just do this so fast because it's just the habit. So what you do is you increase the sizing to fit over here your layer, and basically what you do is you grab on this layer that you have and you just drag it to over here to the other one where you are basically working with. Okay, so now what I'm going to write over here is Japanese. I normally just, actually this is way too small, but I normally just use over here capital letters for this. So you can see that I have this capital letters. I'm actually going to increase this a bit, let's say to 60 pixels. But you can see that it contrasts, it has a huge contrast, and it's easy to read the title because of the background being black. And you can see that it just snaps when it goes to the center. You can see that it snaps. That's why I have the guidelines. And now I'm just going to duplicate this layer. Actually, I can change the font if I want, but I like this font. But if you want, you just select over here this test, and you go over here and you just, I mean, you could have already downloaded a font from the website that I've mentioned, and you just download to your computer so you can use it. In this case, I'm just going to use this font because I like it. It's clean, but you just select your font and you just play around. You can see that I have over here the font selected, and I just pressing the arrow on my keyboard, and I just go around until I found a font that I like for my book. For this, I probably would use something that has a more Asiatic flavor for this, but I actually don't think I have a font for that. So I certainly would go to a website where I could find a free font with something that looks a bit more Asiatic for this, and it will look better. But in this case, I really don't think I have anything for that. So I'm just going to leave the font that I had previously. I always want to use a font a bit different, but something that is clean for people to read, something that is easy for people to read. So the one I was using is this one. Okay, so what you can do is you go over here to character, whatever you call this. I actually don't need this image anymore. And you go over here, and if you don't have this window appearing, you go over here to window and you choose this option, so you can see this option appearing. And you go over here, and what you do is you stretch, in this percentage, you stretch your font a bit.